and welcome to Panther Report News. I'm Cheri Pruitt.
And I'm Tyrik, Wynn. The Student Government Association elections took place this week from this Tuesday to Thursday, and by Wednesday at 6 p.m. it was a report that they surpassed the number of votes from last year.
Now, we do not know yet have all the details on who will be the next leaders on the Student Government Association, but we will bring that news to you as soon as we get it.
Shannon Martinez, a former neo-Nazi, tells students about her story on recovering from extremism. Kara Nelson has more on the story.
We're very pleased to introduce Shannon Martinez, a former neo-Nazi skinhead.
That belonging inside the violent white supremacy movement really gave me a sense of purpose and belonging. Like, it helped me feel like I was part of something bigger than myself.
Shannon Martinez joined the Nazi extremist group when she was 15. She discussed her past beliefs and tactics that she used to perform.
In more targeted attacks, flyering synagogues and places of worship, through public defacing of property, through random violent attacks on people simply walking down the street.
I appreciated at the end she kind of talked about her life and her family now after her situation and everything that built up to who she is today, and her respect, the respect that she has and that she said she had for Black people.
And for me, like, I felt that I had a responsibility to step into that space, and I continue to, you know, it's like wherever my voice is of value, wherever someone believes that my voice is a valuable one, then I will share it.
While many students were moved by her story, some were not convinced.
I appreciate her honesty in telling her story about, you know, how she was in the past, but sometimes I feel like people don't really change, and maybe she said she did, but I'm not really buying the whole change thing.
Martinez says telling her story is a way for her to make up for her wrongdoings, and she hopes to change other extremist mindsets. Reporting in Atlanta, Kara Nelson, Panther Report News.
During Georgia State's Education Week, the library offers some helpful tools students should be on the lookout for when registering for next year's set of courses.
All right, get to work.
Purchasing textbooks is not an easy task for college students. However, the Georgia State University Library is providing a solution to this issue. Librarian Denise Dimsdale takes students through the process of attaining cheaper books.
When you go to register, when you log into PAWS, definitely check to see whether or not the course has it's a little blue circle, and the X means that the textbook is zero cost, and a $1 sign means that the textbook costs $40 or less, so definitely look for that.
With this knowledge, students share what they plan to do for the future.
I mean, I know in some classes you can't get away from anyway, so you have to register for them and just deal with the prices of the book.
I know a lot of people who have dropped out of classes because the textbook is too much, and I think that the library having a function of being able to tell students what price is and make it easier to access that information is really good and really crucial, I think.
With these options, students have a better chance of purchasing cheaper books during class registrations. I'm Cheri Pruitt for Panther Report.
METOO founder Tarana Burke participated in Spotlight's Distinguished Speaker Series, where she discussed the movement from its birth to its global recognition.
Yes, and Panther Report's Kelsey Perkins sat down with Burke for an exclusive interview on the movement's growth.
First things first, I want to say thank you for creating a global phenomenon, the METOO movement. You have truly given a voice to the voiceless.
Well, I try not to say that because I don't believe that people don't have voices. So I think that sometimes we create work that amplifies voices of people who are normally ignored, or who haven't found avenues to use their voice, but everybody has a voice.
Tarana Burke founded the METOO movement in 2006, but 13 years later, she received more than 12 million responses from a tweet by actress Alyssa Milano that invited sexual assault survivors to use the popular hashtag. But how did two simple words, Me Too, have such a huge meaning behind it?
I've said this before, it can be a conversation starter. You know, if somebody is sharing, if you're in a moment where you're disclosing to another person or you feel compelled to tell them about what's happening, it's the way to start off this conversation, right? Like if somebody's sharing with you and you say, well, that happened to me too, which is exactly where the phrase came from me not having the ability to say that this had happened to me. And other times it can be the whole conversation. And so the way it has grown now into this global phenomenon, people don't have to tell their story. They can just literally say, "Me too," and there's an understanding there.
You also participated in the recent docuseries, Surviving R. Kelly. How did it feel and what did it mean to you to be a vital resource in a project that essentially reopened an investigation against the R&B artist?
Well, I mean, I've been a part of a small but very vocal group of Black women who have been talking about R. Kelly and the crimes that he was alleged to have committed for years. Been trying to bring attention to the kind of predator that he is, that we have so many of in our community. And so when the time came for this documentary to be put together and they asked me to participate, I was definitely excited to be a part of giving a platform to the women, really.
There was one piece of advice that Burke wanted to make sure that she mentioned.
Is there any lasting advice that you have for other survivors out there that may be afraid to come out?
You know, survivors who are afraid to come out should take their time. This is not a moment where you have to do what everybody else is doing. If people aren't prepared, if they don't feel comfortable, if they don't feel ready, then they should take the steps to get ready before they push themselves or allow other people to push them to come forward.
With Burke's influential platform, she's expected to be rolling new programs this year. Visit the METOO movement website at metoomvmt.org to see the latest and newest up-to-date news that is happening. For Panther Report News, I'm Kelsey Perkins.
Well, that's our show.
Make sure you stay connected to Panther Report News throughout the week. Be sure to follow us on all social media platforms at GSU PRN.
Also, subscribe down below and please let us know what you think in the comments.
I'm Tyrik Wynn.
And I'm Cheri Pruitt, and we'll see you next week.